You've also been tracking this story out of North Carolina, so I'm going to let you set this one up as well. But, Sagar and Ryan covered, and something we've been tracking, skyrocketing electricity prices, I feel is one of the undercovered stories, of the year, truly, both in terms of people's lives, also in terms of how it could have political impact. And there's some pretty nefarious legislation that is moving through state legislatures, and specifically in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, and it moved all the way through. And this is a story that's happening all across the country, but North Carolina is a particularly interesting place for us to look, because North Carolina actually really leaned heavily into renewable energy, clean energy. Like, they have tens of thousands, maybe over 70,000 jobs, like just directly in the clean energy industry. And because of that, the North Carolina senators, have been very stridently defending clean energy in the Senate. Tom Tillis announced his retirement, the Republican senator from North Carolina, in a speech opposing Trump's big, beautiful bill. Like, he ended his career. He's like, you have no idea how bad this is going to be for North Carolina. I'm out of here. Like, you're going to primary me over this? Fine. Like, I quit.
Yeah.
Like, this is so stupid. So let's start actually with E6 control room. Sorry, this is out of order here. But this is a report from just this week that solar company Blue Ridge Power is just straight up shutting down. So this layoff of 517 workers that you see up on the screen, Asheville and Fayetteville, is everybody. Wow. They're just rolling up shop. This is a company that it was launched in 2021 at the height of the kind of pivot towards clean energy, in North Carolina being the place where so much of this was going. And we try to remember some of these numbers. So the Blue Ridge reports that it built 7 gigawatts of solar infrastructure across the country. It had something like 30 gigawatts in the works, which we'll get back to those numbers. Because if you hear from Trump, solar and wind are fake. It's a giant hoax. They don't actually produce any power. 30 gigawatts is an enormous amount of power. Something like 70 to 90, somewhere between 70 to 90% of all new power added to the grid over the last several years has been renewable energy. So the idea that it's doesn't do anything is complete nonsense. So we'll get back to this in a second. Now we can go to E1. So over the summer, there was a bill pushed through the North Carolina legislature called S-266, which did something utterly extraordinary. And first of all, its lead sponsor was the former CEO of Duke Energy, which is the big monopoly. Utility.
Yeah,
monopoly
in Virginia
utility
too.
In Virginia and in North Carolina. They've got this Appalachian area locked down. So this former CEO pushes through this bill. And what does the bill do? It says that going forward, if there is a contest between consumers and data centers over who gets the power, and if there's limited power, the data centers are going to get it. And when it comes to who's going to pay for it, it's going to be more on the consumer side than it's going to be on the data center side.
Yeah.
Like a straight up giveaway to the data center industry in North Carolina. And you're like, wait, that's impossible. Seriously? No, but go look it up. That's actually what the bill did.
Yeah, and the numbers, if I'm recalling correctly, it's right now, regular residential consumers, they use 40% of the power and they pay 40% of the cost.
Right.
If you just kept the landscape the same with this bill passed, they would now pay, basically, they would still consume about 40% of the electricity and they would pay 50% of the cost.
Right.
So they're not putting everything, but your electricity bills are going to go up to, subsidize these giant data centers backed by some of the largest and most, profitable companies on the planet.
Yeah, no, exactly. Incredible. And so meanwhile, North Carolina is now, so that bill was vetoed by Democratic Governor Josh Stein, and then a combination of Republicans and a handful of Democrats overrode his veto in the legislature. So that bill is now law. Now we'll get into some of the data center activity that's going on in North Carolina. We could roll E2 here for more perfect union.
I'm standing at the site of Meta's new $10 billion data center in Richland Parish, Louisiana. It'll be the largest data center the company has ever built, about the size of Manhattan. The project is already bringing about big changes to this small town way of life here.
A lot of folks are on their own, and if they are on a very strict budget, they're going to have to adapt, and if they don't, they won't make it.
I don't know that gutting 2,500 acres of land just so we can mine data so that we can better market and sell people stuff, I feel like it's getting carried away.
Why are the data centers coming to the small rural towns? They're coming here to benefit themselves. They're not coming here with intentions on benefiting the community.
And see, that's a little bit unfair. They're not just mining data so that they can more effectively market stuff. We can put up E3 here. You can also, chat with a horse? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. A literal horse. This is on Meta, I believe, where you can create these custom chat bots. Another one was like strict parents, rich but strict parents was, I know, another one that was popular on there. So yeah, the glories of technology and progress.
If you're just listening to this, the tweet was something like your electric bill is going up 30%, so you can chat with this horse. And of course, it's not just energy; it's also water. You can put up E4. This is another North Carolina, local North Carolina news headline. AI data centers would need millions of gallons of North Carolina's water supply a day. Everybody loves these as a free chatbot chatting with the horse. Turns out, shockingly, there's no such thing as free. Put up E5 here. So Amazon itself is planning to invest $10 billion with a B dollars in North Carolina data centers in an AI push, which is finally starting to be controversial. Because people are like, hold on a second. We're paying, like, how are we benefiting from this? This is not so cool. So you were saying that they're trying to do that in your neighborhood too?
Yeah, so I was just looking at the update on it. It looks like the Board of Supervisors said no, and Amazon is suing because they feel they have a right to build this data center in our town, apparently. But
Abundance Bros got to swoop in.
That's right. Yeah, they got to get these NIMBYs in check, I guess. But I mean, there's so much to be said about this problem, both from Naomi Klein talks about this movement as being sort of anti-creation because they want to sort of suck up all of the natural resources, whether it's energy or whether it's water, whether it's just land is another big part of it, in order to create this sort of like weird AI shadow world that is only going to benefit, economically. It's going to further consolidate wealth and power in the hands of a few. So it's obviously very dystopian. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out, given that we do know a lot about our political system and most people have some experience with it, that when you have that contest between regular random person and giant corporation for the energy and who's going to foot the bill, what direction they're going to go in. Because I guess like Iran, we don't have lobbyists.
Right. We don't.
Yeah, and the Duke Energy guys are going to win out every time. So
right, you can see how democratic the North Carolina legislature is, low D democratic. It's like maybe 10 power centers or data centers or whatever. There's millions of people.
Right, and yet the data centers
will all suffer. The data centers will win. Speaking of democracies. The Chairman Xi was at the UN this week and followed Trump's speech where he told everybody that wind and solar is a hoax.
Climate change is a hoax. It's a scam. Green energy is a scam.
Somehow, Chairman Xi is being completely fooled by the hoax. So let's roll some of his remarks before the UN.
So he says, however the world may change, Ryan, China will not slow down its climate actions, will not reduce its support for international cooperation, and will not cease its efforts to build a community with a shared future for mankind. China is willing to work with all parties to earnestly honor the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities, do the utmost respectively and collectively, and build a clean, beautiful, and sustainable world together. And I think we probably get the point of what's going on here. You know, I was thinking about the way the political dynamics of this, Ryan, have flipped, because you started with the layoffs at this solar company. And, you know, previously it was like the lefty green energy people who were supposedly the like job killing, you know, haters. And now we're in a totally different dynamic. I mean, first of all, the industry has progressed and the science has progressed significantly. The tech has progressed significantly so that it's much more powerful, much more affordable. And you can see that, you know, China is leading the world in development of all, if not most, you know, most if not all of these technologies. The Biden administration made like the tiniest bit of investment in that direction, and it was starting to bear some fruit. And now Trump, it's not like he has an all of the above strategy. He has an active vendetta against any sort of green energy, which is incredibly counterproductive for him politically, certainly for American consumers. You can see it in the electricity price hikes, which, you know, is partly about the big beautiful bill, partly about these AI data centers, partly about increased demand because of the climate crisis. And, you know, you can see it in terms of job losses like this. So it seems to me like the historic political dynamic that Trump still has like wrapped in his 1990s brain has now reached an inflection point where, you know, the landscape of both jobs and cheap energy is all in the direction of, you know, really investing in renewable and green energy.
Yeah, we're maxed out on the dirty stuff. If you want to expand the energy production of the country, you have to do it through these new types of energies. And Trump doesn't want to do it, so we're just gonna get a super high electric bills and then rolling blackouts.
Sounds great.
China will be okay though.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.